Good morning, folks. It's the Wizard from Wizard Mo Games, and today we're at the Wizard's Table. We're going to be taking a look at Mercurial. This is a 1 to 4 player game by Hyperlixer Studios, made by David Go. So I've already done some pre-setup here on the table. In solo mode, our goal will be to play until one of these two decks run out. We have a spell deck, we have an alteration deck, we have a heroics deck. Over here we have a board that shows us what happens if we reach equilibrium. I'll explain that as we go. And then we got some creature cards up here that we could work towards. I'm probably not even going to focus on that, but if it happens, it will happen. I'll be playing as the Chaos Mancer today. So he normally starts with 4 mana and 0 acuity. These will be used to help cast your spells. We'll also have a stack of dice here, and we're going to roll those. Those are elements. So on these dice, we're going to have water, lightning, fire, earth, and then we're also going to have void and ether. And I'll tell you how those work as we go along. He also gets, because it's solo mode, he's going to start with 2 less mana and 6 acuity, which is okay. That basically it's a net 1 mana gain. The way this works is 2 acuity is equal to a mana, and a mana is equal to half a die. 2 mana can be put into place of a die face to attain these spells. He starts with a couple of different cards. He's going to start with one here that allows me to spend a certain number of acuity to be able to convert void into any color that I want. Also, he could discard this card and convert the ether symbols into acuity, it looks like. This one here allows me to take 2 acuity and then to play another one of these cards. These are alteration cards, and I believe these are artifacts. Or it could be discarded for acuity based on the number of ether. And then we get one face down, which I have found the jeweled key. Allows me to spend an ether to convert void into either fire or lightning, and if we were playing a multiplayer game, all other players would get to gain an acuity. So normally there'd be 6 cards in each row. I'm going to put my hand off since I don't have a lot of room on the screen here, and as I acquire spell cards, I'll put them over here. Once I roll dice, I'll move that off of the table as well. It's with the mat, it's pretty big, but even without the mat, it's pretty big. Over here, if you are trying to acquire these heroic cards, that's what you're going to do, is cast these spells, and they're going to generate ruin or restoration. So the ruin is listed on one side of the card. We'll jump in there. The ruin is listed on the left side of the card, and that's how much ruin it costs to take this card. In the middle is how many points you're going to get. On the right side is how much restoration it takes to get. So restoration, it's a little bit easier to get it with ruin than it is with restoration. Just like anything, if you do it the right way, it always takes longer. So when I cast these spells down here, I'm going to be putting dice on here or mana, and they're going to give me different abilities. Like this particular card, it would cost me 2 lightning or 3 lightning, but I could substitute 2 mana for it here, and I would just take and place the dice on the card, and I would take it. And it's only 2 things you do in this game. You take and you play, or you cast a spell. And what you're going to be doing is grabbing these ingredients and pairing these cards together in order to create ruin or restoration. For instance, this one If I acquire this, I'll set it off aside, and it goes into a queue. And what I'm trying to do is combine these together to create a spell that gives me enough to do these heroic deeds, you know, saving the people from the dragon, or digging the people out of the collapsed buildings, or closing the portal. These are all different heroic activities, and if I can create a spell big enough to acquire that, then I can acquire the victory points off of it. Back to this one, it gives me ruin equal to 2 times the number of cards necessary to cast the spell. So if I was to use all 3 of these, this would be worth 6 points of ruin. This one is a linked spell, so when you buy it, you link it to another card, and it does something to it. So this one would multiply the linked card by 2. But if I had ether, and I wouldn't have to have ether to make the spell, just as long as I have ether in my pool in some way, shape, or form, it would actually triple it. So if I attach this to this card is just 5 ruin, and it costs fire to get it, but I can substitute mana in there. If I got the 5 ruin and linked this to it, it'd be worth 10 points of ruin. But if I had ether, it'd be worth 15 points of ruin. And if I had it with this card, it would be another 6 points of ruin. So now you're looking at 21 points of ruin, and it pretty much opens up every single card on the board to take. So of course you're going to go for the one with the most points. So that's what we're doing. But in solo mode, there's a timer. There'd normally be 6 of these in a row. And what happens after the end of each turn, these things are going to push. First, you'll replenish. You'll slide everything to the left and replenish from the top of the deck, any cards that are taken. And then all of these are going to push over, and then we're going to create a 4th column. And then the next turn, they're going to push over, and we'll create a 5th column until there are a full 6, which is what would start in a normal game. Well, at the end of a turn where there are 6 columns, the 2 on the end are going to push off and go into a discard pile. They're removed from the game. So it creates a timer. Now, there are more spells than there are alterations. When the alteration deck runs out, these cards are going to continue at the end of each turn to run off of the board. And once they're completely off of the board, you'll end the game. So that's it's a timer set up in the game, and then you calculate how many points you've achieved, and you basically try to outdo yourself. In the rule book, there are some achievements that you can get, you know, link 5 spells together, or, you know, gain 25 points of this, that, or another. I read through them slightly, but again, first time running through solo, I'm just gonna struggle getting the rules right, and so we'll go from there. So the first thing I do, these coins down here are just little slots. Once we reach to the 5th row and the 6th row, the cards in these slots, the cost is reduced by 1 acuity, which is half a mana or a quarter of a die, and the ones in the last row are reduced by 1 mana, which is basically half a die. So if they get to the end, they get a little bit cheaper before they disappear. So that's what these are. They're little discount tokens. I also have a special ability here that says I can convert ether into water. That shows infinity. So if I am looking to buy something that has water, which there aren't any out here right now, I could actually convert my ether dice into water. So that's pretty cool. And so we'll start from here and see what happens. I've got a little reference guide here. It's got spell effect references on one side, and it's got icons on another side. Looks like I have another special ability as a Chaosmancer, is that I could, a secondary effect, I could re-roll up to 4 dice and play another alteration. So that's pretty cool. I guess I am pretty chaotic. So let's give you the gist of how this works. I may go through a whole game. I may just show you how it works. We'll see how it feels and what the time looks like. So here we go. First thing we're going to do, now he starts with 7 dice. And he starts, we have these little icons up here on the top of some of these cards. A little green one, gold one, blue one. I believe that there's also a purple one. And the gold one is the Beast Slayer. The blue one is a Pathfinder. The purple one is a Rune Breaker. And the green one is Savior. Now, some of these cards will give you, some of the alterations themselves will allow you to convert dice to a different type, gain more acuity, but some of them have a little sidekick over here. I'll show you that. It's got the little sidekicker, the green guy, the blue guy. Over here is the purple guy. And what that means is that you gain whatever this has and then add more based on how many of those sigils you have. So in this case, I could convert 1 blue die into an earth die, but I could do any number more equal to the green sigils I have. So that's another little interesting mix. So what you're recruiting or what heroics you're taking, you may take something that's a little bit lesser in order to collect these runes. These runes would be worth points at the end of the game. If you have 1 of a type, I believe it's 1, but if you have 2, it's worth more, and if you have 3, it's even worth more. So collecting and matching sets is also involved. Over here, if you create ruin or restoration, but it's not enough to take these cards, you can cash them in. For every 3 ruin, you get a little victory point. You just pull it out of the bucket there. And I think I've covered everything. So I'm going to start with these 7 dice. And like I say, because it's solo, his 4 mana is now 2, and his 0 acuity is now 6. So I'm going to pull this out here and create our pool of dice. So look at that. We've got a couple of, look at this. We've got a couple of ether. I got a water. I got a void. I have 2 earth and 1 fire. So this is what I'm working with. Cards over here are going to be, it looks like I'm looking for lightning. There's some mountains, and there is some fire over there. So I'm going to set these aside. I know I can convert those to water. So let's take a look here and see what I'm working with. So you say, man, look at the luck. Look at this. We're rolling dice. But that's what these alteration cards are. So I can play. So I could say, I'm going to go ahead and take one of these cards, but it doesn't look like I have enough to purchase any of them to start working towards building a spell to gain a heroic. So I can take one of these cards up here, take a look and see what there is. Well, this one converts mountains into water or water into mountains. That's pretty cool. This one's going to convert water into mountains, and this one converts water into fire or lightning. It doesn't look like that's going to help me much. I'm going to look at my special cards over here. I can play this one. This looks like a good one. I'll go ahead and play this one. It says if I spend an acuity, which I will, 1 acuity, I can turn a void into a fire or a lightning. Well, I have 1 void die here, so I'm going to go ahead and flip it over into a fire. Now I have 2 of them. And then what I do is put this into a personal discard pile, and I have the ability as one of my take actions, basically take all the cards that I've spent back to my hand. So what I've done with that is a play action. So I now get to take. So what I'm going to do is use these two fire dice, and I'm going to use 2 mana, and that is going to allow me to purchase this 5 ruin spell card. I'll put it over here. Now these will stay on this card, so it sort of locks up your resources. Now I have less resources to use to get the rest of them, because you can only put so much energy into casting a spell. So with that happening, I have taken a spell and I have played a card. So now I'm going to replenish this. Looks like the exact same card. They are. We're going to slide everything down 1. And we're going to refill these slots. There we go. So I'm well on my way to crafting a powerful spell of ruination to work towards one of these heroic deeds. That's it. So now, looking with what we have left, I can take, I can play. Let's see, do I want to convert these? This one uses water or fire, and it would give me either 2 ruin or 3 restoration. Well, I could try to throw a couple on there and put that up to 7. It does not put me real close to any of those. So let's see if there's something else I can do here. Let's see if I can get an alteration. I do. I'm going to take this one, and then I'm actually going to play this one. So this one says if I can take water and convert 1 into a mountain, which I'll do. And if I had the green sigil, the savior sigil, for each one of those that I had after I captured a heroic, I'd be able to do 1 more conversion. So I'd convert water into that. So I have taken and I have played. We will refill this, and now we will move these over 1. And then fill in the missing spaces. Just like that. It moves right along. There's a lot of icons in the game, but once you start learning what they mean, again, the reference, once you go through the reference sheet 1 or 2 times, you'll sort of learn what they mean. And once you get that, I mean, you can get moving on a pretty good clip, sort of figuring out what you want to do. So, I think, you know, I'm holding on some ether here. I'm going to go ahead and take these mountains here and put 1, 2, 3, and I don't have another mountain or earth. I could put 2 mana on there, but for 2 acuity and 2 acuity, I can make up for that mana, and that's going to take me this card. So what this does, normally it would be a 2 multiplier. I'm going to link it to this 5. But because I'm holding on ether, it's actually turning that 5 into a 15. So I have taken another card, and now I could play a card. Now I cannot cast this spell because that you take and play, or you cast a spell. So I can play a card if I wanted to, and let's see. You know, I think I'm okay. I think I'm going to be okay with that. So what I'm going to do is let this fill. Everything's going to push. So now we were at 6 in our rows. And what I have done in these first 3 turns is purchased enough spells that on this turn right now, I am going to cast. And when I cast, I will come over and look at my cards and see what I have. I have 5 ruin length times 3 because I have the ether. So I have 15 ruin. Now, if I had anything other than a void or an ether left below here, I would have to convert it into ruin or restore. So you have to be careful. If you don't use all your dice, you may end up with more, which is cool, having more than what you need. If this was a fire or a mountain, it would be worth another point. So I'd be at 16. But if it was water or lightning, it would be a point of restore. Now here's what happens with that. When you have a mixture of ruin and restore, they cancel each other out. So if I had this one, I would be at 14 instead of 15. Well, there is a mechanic in this game. Why would I ever buy restore if they're going to cancel out my ruin? Well, they have a mechanic called equilibrium. So if you buy and put these cards together and cast a spell and they negate each other down perfectly, equilibrium, then you would take the equilibrium depending on how much of them that canceled each other out. If you had you would get equilibrium points for it. And that equilibrium is going to translate into restore or ruin. And then you could use that to cast the cards. So I would have to look through it and see how many points it is. I think what it is, if you had 10 fire or 10 ruin and 10 equilibrium, that or 10, restoration, that would be 10 points of equilibrium. You would go to the card and say, well, there's 10 points of equilibrium, so it actually is worth 20 ruin or 28 restoration, which is super powerful. So it's rare for it to happen. It might take a lot of work and a lot of cards to get to that point, but you have to know that's part of the mechanic. And some people will cast small spells and grab small things, and then you got one person working a long game and they hit that equilibrium and get something and buy a really powerful card out of the beginning. I mean, this guy here is 26 restore or 19 ruin for 11 points. Well, right now I'm sitting at 15, so I'm going to look through. I've got 11, 10, 19, 16, just shy of that. If I had had a fire dice or a mountain, I would have actually been at 16 and could have grabbed this one worth of 8 points. But right now what it looks like is that I'm going to end up with one of these 11-point cards. Now, at the beginning of the game, we have bonus stuff on these cards. I've got a couple of acuity and a die on 3 of them, and then I've got a couple of mana and a couple of acuity on these 3. When you acquire that card, you gain these items. So after I cast this spell, I'm going to recover all these dice and re-roll them back into my pool. I will recover all of my mana, but my acuity will go away. So if I'm gaining more mana, that is like permanent. I mean, I use it, I cast a spell, and then I get it back. My dice, I'll use them, I'll cast my spell, I'll get them back. My acuity, they're spent. They're gone. They're not strong enough to stick around. But when you gain these, you can gain additional dice, more acuity, more mana. But after these are gone, when they're filled in, it's just 3 acuity per card. So this stuff's going to go away, and eventually you're just going to be gaining acuity. So what I'm going to do with what I have, 15, looks like some wasted. Oh, but it's not. Look at this. It's only going to take 11 to take this card. So I'm going to go ahead and take it and get this die and this acuity. That means I have 4 left. Well, for 3, I can convert it into a victory point. So I now have a victory point, and I have this card, which actually has the gold sigil on it, Beast Slayer. So I have slain a beast, and I have gained 5 points for casting that spell. So I'm going to pull all of these dice back. I'm going to lose this acuity, and I'm going to get my mana back. Now these cards will get folded away, and I'll save those because certain things give you bonus points for having a certain number of spell cards. So that was it. That was the that was casting a spell. So I have taken, I have played, and I have cast a spell, and we bring another one up on the board, and meanwhile the timer is ticking. So this guy is going to get discarded, and this guy is going to get discarded, and these are pushing. And that's the premise of the game. Now, I can look up here. This shows, hey, if you cast a spell that uses these 3 ingredients, you can grab this guy. He's worth 2 points, and then you'd gain an additional point for every 2 fire spells that you cast. Well, I have one already, but I used earth and fire to cast that. I did not use lightning in the casting. And I believe what it is the goal of having all 3 of those cast in a single spell. This one says if you achieve 12 equilibrium, you gain this card. It's worth 2 bonus points. And then you get points for every 3 spells you had that did not have the ether symbol on it. And this one says use 4 cards to cast a spell. If you do, it's worth 2 points, and then for every 4 cards you have spell cards wise, you get an additional point. So they have little stricter goals. You can work towards that, but most of the time you're really just struggling to try to get these. If you happen to meet it, and I could have waited and tried to throw a lightning in there, but it has been pushed off the board. So we will refill these, and that timer is a running. So now I'm starting again, and I've got 8 dice instead of 7. So what I'm going to do is pick these up. I've become a little bit stronger. Look at that. I've got a lightning, I've got an earth, I've got a fire, I've got a water, I've got a lot of ether, which really doesn't do anything for me unless I can convert it or keep it for those ether blessed spells. And then I have void, which is completely useless, but can be converted pretty easily. So I'm going to transfer these over here and get this table cleared back up. And we're going to start back into the take and play mode. So I think I'm going to have to take something. First, I'm going to look and see what spell components I have here. Here I have another linked spell. It takes a lot of mountains, but I only have 1. This one gives you 2 ruin or 3 restore. This one gives you restore equal to the amount of acuity you have, but that could change. It only when you cast will that have a value. So if I have spent all of my acuity, boom, there you go. Over here, this one is 6 or 8 restore, because if you have ether, and it looks like it costs 3 water, which I do not have. And then this one looks like it could be restored 2 or 3 times the number of cards used in the spell. So if I was to get these 2 and have ether, I would have 8 points, and this would be 2 cards, so it would be 3 times the 2 cards, 6, it would be 14. Well, if I look out here, there are a few of those that could be achieved by that. So maybe I could start looking for some lightning and some water. So let's look up here and see if we've got anything that's going to turn any of this other stuff into lightning or water? Well, I have this. This one says spin 3 acuity. I can spin fire into water or mountains, as many as I want. This one says if you have a certain number of lightning, you can turn that many into void. Some people will turn into void and then pull them back out. I don't think I want that. All right, let's look at this guy. I'm going to take this card right here. Now, this card has a little slash. These cards have two separate things where you can do one thing. You can do one thing and then do the other. But if it has a slash, it's do one or the other. This one allows me to convert either directions, mountains to water or waters to mountain, or re-roll a die. Well, I think I've taken this to my hand. I'm going to go ahead and play it, which is going to allow me to turn this mountain into water. So I have taken, I have played, and we will refill the slot. We will slide these off the end, and the timer continues to run. Here and here. Bringing up new options, but I don't want my cards to run off the end. Alright, so what I was looking at earlier was taking this water here along with my mana and acquiring this. I'm taking this card. So I now have, currently, because I have one of these dies, I have 8 restore. Now, it looks like minimum out there is 13. So we're going to fill this in, and then we're going to, that was take. I could play, but I only have these 2 cards. And what was I looking at? I was looking at this. I was looking at this one. I would need some more lightning, mana, a couple of lightning. I would have to spend, only have 1 void. Alright, so I will just play this one to gain 2 acuity, and it allows me to play another card. It seems a little harder to get the restore. And I'm currently at 8. 11 is too shy. I don't want to burn up all my resources. I'm going to have to find some conversions. Ah, look at this. I have the ability to convert this into water, these into water. I have 3. I will only do 2 of them. I'll turn them into water. And hopefully water might help me with something. So I'm going to, that's it. I took something, we did everything, and now we're running off the end. Here we go. Here's the timer. Let that timer go and get me something out here that's going to help me with restore. All right. This is a link for time 2. That would be cool over there. That would put me at 16. And 16 would give me that one for 5 points. Give me some more mana, but I'd have to have 3 mountains to do that. And it doesn't look like there's really much water. This can be water or fire. I'm going to go ahead and use a water. No, I'm going to use the fire. And I'm going to use 4 acuity to take this one. And that gives me 3 more. So I'm at 11, which still has me out of range. But blue dice can be converted into it, so I might have enough here. What am I at? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Purple in this, so that would put me at 14. These do not convert. So next turn I'll be able to cast this spell. So here's the thing, I've been refilling these into the center. We should actually push these and refill from the end, and then push these off of the end. So we may have had some fresh cards that came out in the middle and they're getting pushed off too soon. Always push to the left, refill, and then push them off the board. And that way the newer cards that come into play stick around for their full cycle. All right, so I'm at a point now to where I'm actually going to cast. And the reason being is because all of these dice will convert 1-to-1 into restoration. The lightning and the water will convert. I'm not going to convert this because I need it to keep this to 8, and void is useless right now. So what I have is 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 1 shy. If I had enough acuity, I could spend 3 to get me another one, but I don't. So I'm at 14, so I'm not going to get the 15, but I can get one of these 13s over here. And let's go ahead and take the one that has the die. So I'm going to take this one and gain some more acuity. And now I have 4 more points along with that sigil. So all of these dice are going to come back. The acuity is going away, the mana comes back, and these cards will stack up in my little discard pile for that. So I currently only have 1 card in hand. This will be replaced. Nice, that's a big dog there, 12 points. It will have 3 acuity on it. And since I cast a spell, these guys are going to go away. So I think I remember where it says in the book, you know, scoring 30 or 60 is pretty good, and I'm at 9, 10 points. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but again, first solo playthrough on this. Now this one's an enchantment style. So it basically converts all of your ruin into restoration times 2. Wow. So if you could get yourself, you know, even 12 ruin, it will convert it and multiply it by 2. That could get you a pretty big card. Get 13. Wow. All right, so that's a goal. So we're going to roll these dice into play. Now we have 9 of them. I don't know if they're going to fit in here. All right, I've got a couple of void. I have a couple of water. I did get another ether, which is helpful. I could convert it to water or not. I got a couple of fire. And I got a lightning and an earth. Let's pull this back and take a look. Now, I'm tempted just to go right away into taking these, but I think I want to sort of look further back here and say, you know, what really is going to work for me. If I had this 7 and this, I could take 7 and turn it into 14. That's nice. And this, if I had this, this would do 2 times the number of cards, which would be 3. That'd be 6 and 7. That'd be 13, with this converting it into 26, which is 11 points. I think what I'm going to do is take something that'll allow me to get some more fire, lightning, and mountains. Here's a multiplier, a link that would multiply something by 2, and it requires mountains as well. So let's look over here and see what we got. I currently have a brown sigil. I don't see anybody that has any brown sigils. I could convert fire into mountains, but I need fire to get this. With this card, here I could convert, I could go either direction with it. I could convert water to lightning. Here, depending on the number of fire, you could convert that many dice into void, which I've already got 2 void. This is lightning into fire. This one is lightning into water. And this one is mountain or fire into 2 void. You know, a lot of these don't seem real helpful to me right now. So sometimes you got to rethink and say, well, you know, what else could I get here? I'm going to go ahead and take this card right here. And I'm going to play this card. This card says spend an acuity and then any number of acuity, 2. I'm going to spend 2 to turn that much void into any color. And I have 2 voids, so I just spent all of my acuity, but I'm going to be able to convert these 2 voids into any color that I want. Now I'm looking at, I know this is going to push. This is actually going to be 1 mana cheaper if it pushes. So I'm going to turn one of them into fire, which means I'll be able to buy that next turn. And I will turn this other one into a mountain so that I could start working towards these other ones. That was a pretty good move. So these will now push, fill from here, and now everything is going to push off of the end. I took and I played, and the clock keeps on ticking. I'm going to go ahead and refill again, like so. All right, so now this time I know that time is of the essence. This guy's at the end. I can spend a fire, a fire, and for a 1 mana discount, I only have 2, I can purchase this card. It is 7 Ruin. So it goes there. All of these dice are locked up. And that mana is locked up until I figure out what I want to do. So all of this is going to push. Oh, guess what? It's going to go away because of the double push. Now at the end of the turn, this and this will push off the end. Wah, wah. Well, change of plans, folks. Let's move it all along. Let's see what else we got. I could still use mountain here. This one's going to convert all that ruin to this times 2. You know what I'm going to do? Well, let's go ahead and grab some of this. Ooh, it's going to be hard. I got to grab it before it goes away. Oh, but 7. It'll put me at 7 equilibrium. Not quite, because the additional dice. I'm going to go ahead and get it because it is at a discount. I'm going to take the 2 blue and this. So I have 7 ruin. Now I have 7 restore. Which, oh, that looks great. But right now I've got an additional 2 ruin and 1 additional restore. So they would not balance. These will move, replenish, and then we will peel these off of the end. Time is the enemy to all of us. Alright, let's move this out. Let's do this and this. So my resources are running a little low. I haven't had to use this, which actually it would have been better had I converted this into water. This one I'm going to retro back. Yeah, it's a first playthrough. I'm trying to figure it out. I should have converted this into water and just spent all water to buy that so that I had the mana for this discounted spell. So this spell is going to cost 2 mountains and 1 mana. As part of managing it, this looks like it's going to be one of those as well. So I can purchase this. So now I'm sitting on 3 portions of a spell over here, and then we'll go through how this works. We're going to move this. That was take, and I'm not playing. I don't have any of that to do. I'm not playing anything. This will replenish that. These are going to run off the end, and while this clock is ticking, I have been brewing on this spell over here. Now let's see what that spell turned out after my cheat. Alright, so with my cheat, I'm going to go ahead and pull this one back. I'm going to get my mana back. It is 7 points of ruin. Alright, 7 points of ruin. This one is 7 points of restore. And this one says, hey, I had a purple die left. Alright, here we go. Says, convert all ruin into restore times 2. So I have 7 ruin that is converting into 14 restore, and I have 7 restore, and I have 1 more restore here. So I'm at 22 restore. Well, we look through here, looks like 21, shy on that, but this one is going to get me 8 points. It's going to get me a couple extra acuity, but the all never depleting mana. Now I'm at 4. That's going to help offset some dice. So these guys are going to wrap up. Now let's take a look at these. This is water, earth, and fire. I'm looking to see if it fulfills any of these requirements. It doesn't. Spend 4 cards? No. Spend 1 of each of those? No. And equilibrium. I did not get that, but I did 3. So they go aside. So now I have acquired 8 more points, and I have 2 more sigils. So now I have 2 brown sigils, or gold sigils, and 1 green sigil. This guy will come out. Oh, that's a huge card. Looks like a pretty big battle going on over there too. All right. So I cast. These guys will roll off the end. You see how, you know, if you're not messing up like me, this thing can roll pretty fast. And yeah, we're getting thin over here. I mean, they roll off pretty fast. 60 points. Come on, David. You're crazy. All right. So I've got to re-roll my dice. 9 of them. That's crazy, dude. So I'm sitting on 3 earth, a water, a lightning. Those go together well. 2 void, another lightning, and the ever famous ether, which I could convert into water. So I'll pull this back. All right. I am set up to start again. That restore is hard. Since I have ether, this looks good, but I don't have a drop of fire. I could get some lightning. I don't think that's going to help me much. I got some fire here. I could get some fire there. It looks like what I can do, I'm going to take this card. And then I'm going to play this card. This says I can convert mountains into fire or lightning. 1, but I get +1 for each gold sigil I have. So I have 2 of those, so that allows me to turn all 3 of this land into fire or lightning. Well, there's a fire, and there's a fire, and let's go for another fire. Fire looks good. All right. So that's what we got. Fire, 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 everywhere. So this has been played. And it is done. So this will refill. I took and I played, and these guys are sliding off the end. I see these as all missed opportunities. Sorry, you had a choice to make. You made a choice, and the other one is no longer available to you. Just like life. All right. So I can take and play, or I can try to nab one of these cards. This is at a discount. It's worth 6. Let's do it. I'm going to go ahead and put... Do I want to do that? Let's look and see what else we can convert up here. That one's got some bonuses where you can grab some stuff. Or do I need to be grabbing a card? I think I'm going to hold out for this one and try to catch it when it hits here on a discount. So meanwhile, I'll be working on another Restore to Ruin conversion. I don't have any mountains. Ah, it's just so... I think I'm going to go ahead and take I'm going to put 3 here, use 2 of this mana, and I'm going to take this, what is in essence 8 points of ruin here. But I could have had a discount, but no. Alright, everybody slides. Boom, I got take and I got play. And my play currently, oh, look at that. I can actually play this. I don't have any fire. I did. I could have played it before I took. And then I could convert stuff into void. I don't have that. So do this. I can't. But then get 2 acuity plus 1 for each of the Pathfinder symbols. And I do not have that, so I get 2 acuity for playing this card. It looks like my take next time is going to have to be my cards back to hand. I have none. So I'm going to get 2 acuity back to hand here. So I played and I've taked, and these guys are going to slide off the end, and the clock is running very low. The sands of time, for me, are running low. Yes, they are. So I'm taking back all of the cards that I played earlier into my hand. Oh boy, what a waste. No, because now I get to play one of them. And let's take a look. That'll convert. That's nice. There we go. See how that works out. So let's look. What's going to go with that ruin over there? Look at all the restore out here. That's crazy, unless I'm going for equilibrium. So how would I do that to get it? 5, 6, 7. This would be a prime example of showing you how to do it. All right, so what I'm going to do, this says spend acuity and additional acuity, so I'm going to do 2, so 3 total, to turn 2 void into any color that I want. And I'm going to turn it into water. And then this other one, I'm at 8 with that. If I get this, I'm at 5. I'm going to convert the other one into water as well, just to show you how this works. All right, so I played this card. There it goes. Yay, it's done. These guys say, take a hike. I'm out of here. See ya later. I'm going to roll these down. Oh, look at this. So close to the end. Now, if the deck runs out, these will just keep sliding to the end until they're all off. And that's what's going to trigger the end, is when they all slide away. All right. So now, my plan was to take this and take this card. It's going to be 2 water. It's going to give me 5 restore. Oh no, that's offsetting. I've got 8 ruin and 5 restore. But look at these dice. These dice convert into restore. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's going to be an equilibrium of 8, because I have this die and I'm getting the second. So this will move and fill. We'll burn these, and then I'll show you how this works. It's probably not the most efficient thing that I did, but hey, you're going to get to see what happens. Of course, I didn't get any of those little dudes up there, but that's fine. So now what I'm going to do is cast. Let's go ahead and cast. I'm going to pull these back and put them over here so we don't get them mixed up with these dice. I'm going to get this back. I'm going to pull these back. So what I had is 8 ruin, 5, 6, 7, 8 restoration. That is equilibrium of 8. So now we go to this little chart over here, and it says if you have 6 to 7, it's worth 11 ruin or 15 restoration. And if you have 8 to 9, it's worth 16 ruin or 21 restoration. Well, there's 17. Too bad. 11, 23, 19. So I got a 10 and 11 that I can go after here on ruin. And restoration is probably, oh no, 21 restore. This one's 15 is still, this is the optimal card. So I'm going to get 2 mana and 2 acuity. I pull this, it's worth 5 points, and it has the purple, which is the Rune Breaker Sigil. So there we go. A new one will come out. That's how you get the equilibrium, is if you find your ruin and restore exactly equal to each other, then you take the amount that they were and it converts them on a little chart. Oh, I also get an extra acuity for this, and this is an add-on thing. I think when you reach a certain level, you get to take this token and you get +2 on your ruin when you cast, but I don't know enough about it, but I do know that I get a bonus acuity for that. So that's that stuff that goes away. All right, so that spent everything that I had. But what I'm going to do is roll these off the end, and you're going to love this. Ready? Will there be enough time? Because I've now placed the final alteration card on the row. Now these will continue to run off. I'll still have opportunities to get those, but I need to try to make something happen. Now I had some excess. I had 21. I only spent 15. That means I had 6. If I had spent 16, I spent 11, I had 5. Still enough to get one more victory point here, the excess stuff. So let's go ahead and get that. I mean, it's hard to get these as it is. And now I am re-rolling all 9 of these dice. Now all the different mages that you play in the game have a different, you can play with initiates on one side, they're all the same, but they all have different cards that they take, different amounts of dice, different acuity, different powers, and their conversions to ruin and restoration are different as well. So you could play it multiple times using, you know, different characters, and it's going to change things. All right, so how'd we do this time? We got some lightning. We got 3 lightning. We got some void. Now you see how powerful void can be. Look at this. We got another one of these ether. Because there's cards that allow you to convert it into anything, and that can help you in a pinch if you have the card to do it. So I have 1 fire, 1 water, 1 earth, 3 lightning, 2 void, and an ether, and a stack of spells. So I've got to hurry, hurry, scurry, scurry. Of course, if I take anything off of this, it's just going to make this run off the end of the board any faster. So let's see what I can get. Is that gonna get me anything? Maybe. That's only if I did it twice. So I've got some ruin with a discount. I've got some. Let's just start jumping on some ruin and see what we can do. I can play and take. So I'm going to play. This is spend 1 acuity, convert 1 1 void into fire or lightning. Alright. Well, let's see if there's something any better than that. For void, I don't see it. So I'm just going to be able to spend 1 of those to convert 1 into fire or lightning. I think I'm going to turn it into fire, like so. And I will spend 1 of the fire because that was playing. This is taking into this, and I get a discount. And I'll be able to grab this 3 ruin right off the end there just to get started. That's at least a victory point, even on the little conversion scale. Alright, so that was play and take. Move, 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 move. Pop it. Alright, now we burn, burn. Oh, and nothing coming out there. So, now what I will do is take, I'll spend a fire, 2 mana, and 1 mana because of the discount, and I will grab this 5 ruin. So now I'm at 8. This is desperation, folks. We're coming down to the wire. This will move down, so I have taken, I can play. Let's look and see what else has become available for ruin. That's a link. That would multiply something by 3, 15, 18. It'd get me something a little higher. This is a link to multiply something by 2, 10, 13. That would be mountains. That's restoration. This is going to help me. Number of cards. Alright, let's go ahead and do my play. And I could do this a number of times. Am I going to need my ether? I don't think I am. So I'm going to convert my ether into water. Then here I'm going to have water, and I can convert 1 into mountains, +1 per green sigil, which is the savior. So I could actually convert 2 of these into mountains. So I'm going to go ahead and play this to convert 2 of these into, earth. I call them mountains because that's what they look like. Alright, I've done that, and I am able to take 1 acuity +1 for each blue sigil, which I do not have. So I get 1 acuity. Alright, it gets me back. So that was take and play. These guys go away. No, that was just play. Because I took that last turn. That was play, so now I will take. And I will take this one, which is all mountains. And this is a link to multiply something by 2. And we're going to multiply that one by 2. Putting it to 10, so I'm at 13. Now we move. Now we lose. And here they go. Down to the wire. At least I'm still getting more spell offerings. Alright, so now I can take and play. Well, what I'm going to do is I have one void die left. What could I do? I'm going to take this one. And I'm going to spend 2 acuity and 2 acuity to equal 4 mana to buy this. This says I get ruin equal to 2 times a number of cards. I'm now up to 4 cards. So it's going to be 8. So I'm at 13, 8, 21. Nice. Move. Refill. Burn. Roll, roll, roll. Get in here. I did not play, I just did a take last turn. I will do this play to take 2 acuity, and it says I can play another card. This should have been on the last turn. I don't think I care about playing any of these. So now I'm in a position to take again. We'll go ahead and use the 2 mana on it. This is going to give me ruin equals 1 times the number of cards. I am now up to 5 cards. And I could play. And anything at all. I'll play this. If I had any fire, I could convert that much number of dice into void. I don't have any, but the bottom says, hey, you can take 2 acuity. I don't know why, but I did. Here we go, here we go. And now we burn this. Comes down to the wire, folks. My last turn, basically, I will cast. So we're going to pull all this stuff over here that I paid for in some way, shape, or form. All that acuity goes away. All that mana comes to roost. And now let's take a look at how these play out. So I have 5 ruin, and it is linked to multiply it by 2, so that puts me at 10 ruin, and then this will put me at 13 ruin, and this one and this one. This one says this is where 2 ruin times the number of cards used to cast a spell, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice, so it's worth 10, so now I'm at 23, and this is 1 times the number of cards to cast a spell. That puts me at 28. We're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. This critter here says if you use 4 spells, or 4 cards to cast a spell, you get to take him. That's worth 2 points, and then plus an extra point for every 4 spell cards you have used in the game. So that's great. This is points here. We're going to put that right up there. So I was able to achieve one of these, capture one of the mystical animals, and I ended up with 28 points of ruin, which will buy me the highest one here, 23. Give me these 3 acuity. It's worth 15 points. I gained that. All of these spells tuck away underneath here. This one rolls off. I'm not going to be able to do anything else. I could roll these dice in, but you know, I might be able to grab one more card that might translate into just a few points. So let's go ahead and do that just to see if it happens. I'll take all 9 dice, toss them in. Got some mountains, got a lot of fire. Look at that. That's going to be worth points there. If I get it, it'll convert into a couple. I got a lightning, this, and this. So let's see. Fire will turn into ruin. Mountains will turn into ruin. This and this will turn into restore. So I could take, I'll take this card because I can. Nope, I'm not going to take it. I got to take one of these. That's the only way I'm going to get any points out of it. And I can only take one. This looks like it's going to give me the best chance to get 2 points. This one would give me 2, that's 2, that's 2, that's not. I can only get one of them. So in order to get 2 points, in fact, that's the only one that's going to get me 2 points. So we'll spend fire. It says I can spend fire or water on it. So I will spend, oh, what's it going to be? Though, because I want to look, I could actually get some more points out of this. If this is 3, and I spend these, that's going to give me -1. Let's spend the waters, 1 of the fires, and 2 of the mana. All right, so I'm going to have this come in at 7. I'm buying this. Boom. Here goes the turn. This triggers the end. Now I cast this last spell. So I'm going to cast this spell. It's worth 7 ruin, 8, 9, 10, 11 ruin -1. Puts me at 10 ruin. It's going to give me 3 additional points. Whew. Say, wait. Hold on. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 -1 is 10. I could actually grab this one for 4 points. Wow. Let's do it. Boom. 4 points. Some more acuity. I pulled it off with a single cast spell. That's crazy. And that gives me 1 more to go here on the bottom. So now what we'll do, we're going to go ahead and clear this out. I probably should have refilled that one I took. I couldn't get that one for sure. Alright, so these are all spells. They're going to go off to the side here. So now we're going to tally some points. So here's how that works. I'm going to take this. I have 4, and I'm sitting there all squeezed up. 4, 5 is 9, 8 is 17, 4 is 21, 15 is 36, 5 is 41, 42, 43, and now I got this, 44, 45, and then 1 point for every 4 spells I cast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, one shy. So I had 12, so that's another 3. That's 48. Is that what I got? That's 48 points. 2 plus 3 is 5, 10, 25, 30, 38, 46, 47, 48 points. So that's how it works, folks. We played a little bit of this. We did an equilibrium. We used mana, dice, cast some spells. Basically ran through everything that could have happened in this game. So this is the Wizard of Mo. Like and subscribe. I know I hate those terms, but likes help. And we will catch you next time. See ya.